all of this, it's the same challenges, but being able to draw from that experience is very key. And I'm so excited that we have in the panel and could, draw especially from some how the Caribbean or Barbados in particular is addressing this. Ms. Sanchez, would you like to come in now?
Thank you very much. And actually, basically providing our private sector investors with the necessary confidence to invest in Africa has been one of the key focus of the African Development Bank, because as you rightly indicated, a major deterrent to capital flows into the continent has been the high risk perception, which results either in a lack of interest or inexplicably high cost of funding, as indicated by David. So infrastructure and finance and trade finance are still being seen as intensely exposed to a wide spectrum of risk, FX risk, and so forth. But the troubling aspect of that is that Africa is also ironically known and verified by factual data to have the lowest default rates on infrastructure projects in the world, lower than Europe, lower than the Americas, lower than other parts of the world. So I think I have the numbers. I think the default rate for Africa over the 83 to 2017 was 5.5%, and the Latin America was 12.9, Asia 8.8, Eastern Europe 8.6, North America 7.6, and Western Europe 5.9. So there is that perception, and that we have to deal with on a regular basis. This is why we, the African Development Bank, and other MDBs as well, have the necessary tools in order to accompany those investors by a wide array of existing instruments. So it goes beyond the SDR. It's just part of the mandate, and how do we bring in the private sector into development, because as Avinash indicated, the amount that we provide is rather limited, and it was that exact realization that we cannot achieve development only via the private sector, the public sector, which led the African Development Bank to change its business model and do also private sector lending.
And obviously, which brings in other development institutions, multilateral institutions into the context. And I think at this time, I would like to invite Chris Stevens to weigh in on, especially on how to support the private sector on the African continent in recycling these SDRs, or what role they could actually play.
Yeah, I think it's a really important question, how we mobilise more private investment in the African continent and also other countries around the world as well. It's clearly, as Avinash said, we need a huge amount of investment, and public sector is clearly not going to be able to do it all. I think there is, there is a question about the SDRs and kind of, the proposal that has to be made earlier, and the Africa Bank's financing capacity. The Africa Bank invests in the private sector as well as providing sovereign lending, so there's a sort of direct link there. But I think I'd also just say, SDRs are not the only instrument around for doing this sort of thing, and we've got lots of other instruments out there. The guarantee that I mentioned earlier, the $2 billion guarantee that we've partnership we've got with the African Development Bank, the Room to Run guarantee. It's a $1.6 billion guarantee from the UK government, but also with a $400 million guarantee, has to correct me if I get the numbers wrong, provided by the UK to the private insurance industry, basically, taking first loss on that guarantee with the UK government standing behind it for the next 1.6 billion. And that's a really brilliant structure. It works really well in terms of our own risk management, as the UK government. But it's also a brilliant way of mobilising the private insurance industry and getting exposure into Africa. And other MDBs were well aware of reinsured quite large portfolios of their private sector investment, allowing them to then reinvest that money as well. So I think that's a really interesting area. We've innovated in the UK. We've got a project called Mobilist, which some of you might have heard of, which is basically piloting new listed products, because we recognise that's actually where a lot of the big institutional investors that we talk about a lot are going to first come into investing. So it's in developing markets. So it's piloting new listed products, which have basically constructed from underlying portfolios of investments in developing countries that wouldn't normally have access to the resources that